question. At the end of the day, he said, I'd say we won more games than we did the year before. So that's why I ask people, what is a step back? Everybody has opinions and things like that. You try to block that out and just focus on doing me, being the best player I can be, and go forward. At the end of the day, personal stats and things like that, that's all in the back. You've got to focus on goals of the team first and foremost. So, Jeff Darlington, armed with the knowledge that Jordan Love is not paying attention to what you say, in your opinion, did he take a step back last year?
He's great. He does everything so perfect. He's going to win the Super Bowl. No, I'm kidding. Listen, I think that it's important to point out, first of all, that his passer rating was actually slightly higher this past season than it was the season before. I also think that anytime, we're in a very unique situation with Jordan Love because he actually only started as the face of the franchise for one full season before getting that monster contract. And I think that sort of oftentimes changes expectations of a quarterback. So it's not like he had his rookie year like CJ Stroud, then fell off a little bit and everybody wonders or just gives him the excuse. With Jordan Love, he got paid, and as such, he's going to be under the microscope. I think that Jordan Love, to be clear, Jordan Love, if you're out there, you're going to be just fine.
He said.
Because you care, what I think.
He's going to be just fine. I think that's a good assessment. I'm sure his confidence is high now. Look, I would just say this. Like, when you reference expectations, Jeff, I think you're exactly right. Because he played well, expectations were high. Finishes, the previous season on just a touchdown tear without turning the football over. And then he goes into last year, gets hurt early in the season, has receivers get hurt, has receivers drop the football, and all of a sudden, panic should set in. That's really not what's going on in Green Bay. I think he could have a similar year to what he had this past year, and Green Bay be right in the mix because they'll probably be better defensively, and they'll probably be even better around him than they were a year ago.
Yeah, trying to catch Detroit.
I think the Packers can be better, and I think Jordan Love will be even better. I think actually, I always push back on the idea of expectations influencing players themselves. First things first, we'll always talk about this, especially like Brew and Nick. They'll be like, oh, he tried to do too much. He's trying to show that he's worth the contract. And they said this about like Jalen Hurts. They said about Jordan Love. And I don't think that's necessarily the case, honestly. But I do think, though, it's a fair point that the external expectations, it's like, hey, you just got this big deal. You've essentially been crowned as a top highest paid quarterback. So it's just like, go win Super Bowls now. Like that's why you got it. It's like, go do it. And you do have to realize, like, well, it's really hard to do. That the reality is like the vast majority of the seasons are not going to be that. I mean, let's just not use Tom Brady as the example, but like just look at the other all-time great special quarterbacks who are all retired now. The Brett Favres, the Mannings, the Tom Brady's, I just did it. The Brett Favres, the Peyton Mannings, the Drew Breeses of the world. Like, it's just not always going to be a smooth season. It's not always going to be a great playoff showing. It's just the way it's going to go. But when you are on the back of a massive contract, and especially these contracts keep just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you come off a great year the before, it's kind of human nature to be like, all right, let's go. We're now gonna win. We're now gonna truly show that we're a top elite team with a truly top elite quarterback. It just doesn't always unfold that way. And I've already did more deeper dives into kind of Jordan Love season as a whole, why the whole kind of regression can be a little bit misleading. The team was disconnected, and that Jordan Love does need to be better, but so does the team, so does Matt LaFleur. This was kind of like everyone involved just kind of needs to be better, and I defended it, talking about the injuries to the team as a whole, but definitely Jordan Love. And then, because Hasselbeck said, oh, you got, early in the season. It was the first game. It was week 1, it was literally week 1, and he got injured multiple times, and he was already out of rhythm with the rest of the team, because while he's still trying to shake off rust and make sure that he's healthy, the rest of the team has now been playing for weeks, and once you're out of rhythm with the rest of the team, it's hard to get back in rhythm. It really is. That's why a lot of times when a team kind of gets hot with a backup player, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever it is, football, like they a lot of times there's like we kind of have to run with it a little bit, because the rhythm and timing is not just on the field in terms of like a quarterback's rhythm and timing. It's also the collectiveness of the team as a whole as well, and even the coaching staff. So it was a harder thing to do for a quarterback who obviously does not have 5 years of true on the field high quality experience under his belt. Just the way it's going to be. And quite frankly, just him and Matt LaFleur's relationship, from an actual starting quarterback perspective, is a short timeline as well. So it makes sense. It makes sense that you kind of have a little bit of a disconnected, inconsistent season, but yet in an inconsistent, disconnected season that had injuries to the quarterback himself and players around him and receivers who were literally dropping the ball, you still made the playoffs. You still won a lot of games. Did you have some bad moments? Absolutely. Did you have some moments where you're like, oh my God, how did that just happen? Absolutely. But you were still able to find your way into the playoffs, win a good chunk of games. It's not like you found yourself in the playoffs, but it was a weird season where you only had to win like 8 wins or something, 9 wins, or you just had a bunch of give-me's where it was like, well, of course you're going to find yourself in the playoffs. You played, 8 2-win teams. Like, of course, like that wasn't the case. That really wasn't. And so I think there's still a lot to like about this team and a lot to believe in this team, quite frankly. And now what I actually really liked, because if you look at, of course there was injury, so you're having less attempts and whatnot. But when you look at 24 and 23 for Jordan Love, it's actually pretty interesting because you can say, oh, well, his completion percentage went down a little bit. It went down a percentage. But when you look at the adjusted, which, accounts for drops, you can see that it went up 2 percentage points. Which going up in 2%, like 2% is everything these days. It really is. Like 2% is not like 2%. No, it actually makes a significant difference, and you can see the drop percentage went up 2%, and that'll cost you a handful of first downs, a handful of touchdowns. And so when you look at the missed games that he had combined with a higher percentage of drops, it's fair to say that we could probably add, this is going to be totally made up. But I think even if he played the whole season, it's not hard to imagine that he would have at least 29 touchdowns. And now talk about having some key drops that didn't. I mean, like I remember vividly, like there was legitimate like drop touchdown passes alone that were just like, oh my God. I would love to find a stat. I don't know if any of the advanced analytics out there, how many passes were drop touchdowns. I'd have to try to see if there's an easier way to find that. But I recall like very vividly being like, well, that was an easy. I mean, there was one time where it was like just wide open, and I still don't even remember how you could drop that. So then he would have a similar touchdown to interception ratio. He would be throwing, again, it's hard to, you'd have to do the quick math, which I'm just not going to do right now. Probably similar number around passing yards. More yards per attempt. His just PFF offensive ratings will go higher. His passer rating would be higher. Like his numbers would actually all be significantly increased across the board, actually. So when you kind of put it in context, it makes it even more impressive. But the difference is that in 23, obviously it was really those final 8, 9, 10, 11 games, whatever the official sample size were, that he really just took off. And that those numbers were kind of just like cartoonishly, outrageously high. And it was just like, this guy's just playing out of his mind. And those numbers were always going to be difficult to maintain because it just is. Like, right? Like you could only just ride the top for so long. Just look at the quarterbacks who right now currently do it the most consistently out of anyone, the Josh Allens, the Mahomeses, the Lamars, and yet they can't. They can only do it for so long. And so and it's always funny because we can bring up the Mahomeses, we can bring up the Lamars, and we can bring up any of these other quarterbacks and say, oh well, what did you want him to do? He doesn't have a good team, doesn't have a good O-line, doesn't have a good wide receiver, whatever it may be. And it's like, well, again, we can offer those same types of the same type of logic to a Jordan Love. So I think when you do look at things a little bit closer, you can actually see the progression. And I think he gave a good answer. I do think, even though I just kind of spent all this time defending him, I still do think he needs to play better. I could defend him for why I think he didn't play better, but there was still enough times that I'm watching the game and it felt more freestyle. And I don't even mean like off the script plays. It just like his feet didn't feel settled. His eyes didn't feel settled. Like he never truly felt settled. And I think he will probably always have a little bit looser of a feel to him. It doesn't feel as much like he is just this live and die in the rhythm and timing of a play, that he is just a little bit of a looser player, which I'm not even 100% opposed to. Kurt Warner kind of talked about the whole benefits. He's got a great video on one video where he was unpacking all of his interceptions actually, and showed how a lot of his interceptions were either just kind of bad plays by the defense, or excuse me, by his receivers, either just an awesome play by the defense. What are you going to do? Shake their hand. And then a couple moments when it was like, Jordan Love, don't make that throw. But I do think that there's still like a little bit of a looseness to his game. And I think there's a potential for his career where it's like, when they're winning and things are going well, you love it. You're like, let's go. And when you have some of those hiccups throughout the season, or even just have a down year, down season, you know, a heartbreaking loss in the playoffs, then you jump on that and you go, they're too loose. He's too this with the ball, right? It's very much going to be like when you're winning, hey, baby, that's what we do. That's how great everything is. And when you come up short, it's going to be like, you know, I'm sick of this. He needs to stop being so loose, you know, like, and it's, you know, it's kind of a gift and a curse in a lot of ways. But I am looking for a little bit more of a settled Jordan Love, honestly. And I'm looking for him to be able to attack closer to the line of scrimmage, you know, not so much just live and die by these spectacular throws. I love watching it. I love the aggression, and Kurt Warner really did highlight. It's why I reference a lot of times when I'm talking about Jordan Love, I really reference that video, because I think he did such an awesome job about talking about like the level of aggression that Jordan Love can bring, and how much it really does it really does put the defense like on their back foot. And I do appreciate that. I just want it to be a little bit pulsed more. I want you to kind of have the feeling that when you're playing, you actually don't know what version of Jordan Love you're going to get. And not because it's sporadic, not because it's just a roll of the dice, but because it's an intentional game plan from Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur. So then when you're going up against it, you're like, I don't know what we're going to get right now. Are we going to get the aggressive Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur play calling? Or is it going to be a little bit conservative? And conservative isn't even the right word, because conservative sounds like it's like safe or not smart. And it's like, no, like it's just, it's smarter. And in a lot of ways, it could be a higher level, more technical ball, where you really need the team around you to kind of, you know, be connected. Because it's not like, hey, man, just go. Just get open and let's see if we can make something happen. Right? It's less backyard ball. So there's just a few things that I really continue to look for with the Green Bay Packers, and I won't even go on my long rant about actually getting Kraft and the tight ends involved, because I have a whole video unpacking that, where it's like, you know, he should be just top of the league in targets, and it should just be fed. I will rebang that drum as we get closer to the season. But like I said, I've already made a video doing that a lot and going through it all, and so I won't repeat that right now, but I definitely will probably in like August or so, like leading into the season. Like I want to see this team at the top of the NFL with targets and catches with their tight ends. That is what I want to see with Kraft, especially, more than anything. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love? Do you think there was regression? Do you think he'll be able to continue to evolve and have this team back on track? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.